You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet.
First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
You will hear the librarian of a new town library talking to a group of people who are visiting the library.
Okay, everyone. So, here we are at the entrance to the town library. My name is Anne, and I'm the chief librarian here, and you'll usually find me at the desk just by the main entrance here. So, I'd like to tell you a bit about the way the library is organised and what you'll find where. And you should all have a plan in front of you. Well, as you see, my desk is just on your right as you go in. And opposite this, the first room on your left has an excellent collection of reference books and is also a place where people can read or study peacefully. Just beyond the librarian's desk on the right is a room where we have up-to-date periodicals such as newspapers and magazines. And this room also has a photocopier, in case you want to copy any of the articles. If you carry straight on, you'll come into a large room, and this is the main library area. There is fiction in the shelves on the left, and non-fiction materials on your right, and on the shelves on the far wall, there is an excellent collection of books relating to local history. We're hoping to add a section on local tourist attractions too, later in the year. Through the far door in the library, just past the fiction shelves, is a seminar room, and that can be booked for meetings or talks. And next door to that is the children's library, which has a good collection of stories and picture books for the under 11s. Then there's a large room to the right of the library area. That's the multimedia collection, where you can borrow DVDs and so on. And we also have CD-ROMs you can borrow to use on your computer at home. It was originally the art collection, but that's been moved to another building. And that's about it. Oh, there's also the library office on the left of the librarian's desk. Okay. Now, does anyone have any questions? Yes, thank you.
You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2.
Now, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 8.
I was driving home from the swimming pool and
I don't know Callington at all, so could you describe it for me? Where did the accident happen?
On the road between Newtown and Callington. I was driving from Newtown, heading towards Callington, and...
Okay, just let me draw the road layout. Right, okay.
When you leave Newtown, there's a sharp bend in the road, and then there's a railway bridge.
Okay.
And then about half a kilometre further on, there's a crossroads with traffic lights, and I was just in between the two when it happened. I wasn't going very fast. In fact, I definitely...
So you'd already gone over the bridge?
Yes, and I'd passed the park, that's on the right-hand side, and I was just approaching the petrol station.
Where's that then?
It's a bit further along, on the opposite side.
So on your near side then?
Yes. As I was approaching it, I saw a blue van coming towards me. The driver had stopped in the middle of the road.
Was he indicating?
Yes, he was waiting to turn into the petrol station, but then at the last minute he decided to turn right in front of me. He must have thought he had enough time, but I had to swerve to avoid him, and I came off the road and landed in a ditch on the opposite side.
I don't suppose he stopped, did he?
Oh, yes, he came over to see if I was okay, but he tried to say it was my fault, and there wasn't anyone else around.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now, you have some time to look at questions 9 to 13.
Welcome to the Taj Mahal. This is one of the most famous monuments to love in the world. It was built between 1631 and 1653 in the city of Agra by the Mughal Emperor Shah as a mausoleum for his wife. The construction involved some 20,000 workers and incorporated materials from China, Tibet, Sri Lanka and Arabia. We're here at the outer gate, and directly in front of us is the forecourt. On the left-hand side of the forecourt you will see some subsidiary tombs, and opposite that are the tomb attendants' quarters. If you go straight ahead you'll come to the Great Gate, and beyond that is the formal gardens. The gardens are divided into 4 sections by paths, which represent the 4 rivers of paradise. Midway, where the paths intersect, is a marble pond, in which the mausoleum is beautifully reflected. Walking through the gardens past the pond, you will come to the mausoleum itself, which has a marble dome 35 metres high. Each side of the building has archways, which are framed by carefully chosen verses from the Quran in beautifully stylized calligraphy. To the left of this is the mosque, and to the right you can find a guest house. Now, I'll give you some time to wander round and see this marvel for yourself.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now, you have some time to look at questions 14 to 18.
Hi, Jane. How are you settling into life at university?
Fine, except I don't really know what there is to do in town. I haven't had time to look around yet. You've been here for a year. Could you give me some ideas?
Of course. There's lots of places for students. Firstly, if you go across the bridge over the river outside the campus and turn left... Oh, no, sorry. That's the garage. Turn right. Then you'll get to the bowling alley, which is really popular at the weekends because it's so close to the campus. On Friday nights, they have a special discount for students.
Oh, that's great. I love bowling.
So, do you like sports, Jane?
Yes, I go running and swimming, and I play badminton.
In that case, there's a running track behind the university campus, and I think they have a badminton court at the sports centre.
Actually, I'm happy just to run in the park.
Well, there's a large park in town too. If you go down the road opposite the bowling alley and take the first right, then you'll get to the park. It's quite big and there's a lake in it. You can take a boat out on it. The university rowing team practice there.
What about places to eat out? Are there any good student hangouts?
Absolutely. There's the Elm Tree Cafe, which is down the road from the post office in the opposite direction from the river. The cafe is on a fork in the main road, and it's quite an institution round here.
OK, well, I'll have to check it out. I'm looking for a part-time job, so maybe I'll be able to find work there.
You should try. They're always looking for new staff, and they often hire students. Now, have I forgotten any other important places? Oh, yes, you like sport, so I should mention the leisure centre. Don't get it confused with the swimming baths, which are down the road from the supermarket. The leisure centre is opposite. There aren't any swimming baths there, but you can get a student leisure card which will let you into both. So, you see, there is quite a lot to do in this town.
It seems like there is. Well, thanks for all the information, Sophie.
No problem. See you soon.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now, you have some time to look at questions 19 to 24.
Now let me give you some idea of the layout of the farm. The building where you bought your tickets is the new barn immediately to your right, and we're now at the beginning of the main path to the farmland, and of course the car park is on your left. The scarecrow you can see in the car park in the corner beside the main path is a traditional figure for keeping the birds away from crops. But our scarecrow is a permanent sculpture. It's taller than a human being, so you can see it from quite a distance. If you look ahead of you, you'll see a maze. It's opposite the new barn, beside the side path that branches off to the right, just over there. The maze is made out of hedges which are too tall for young children to see over them, but it's quite small, so you can't get lost in it. Now, can you see the bridge crossing the fish pool further up the main path? If you want to go to the cafe, go towards the bridge and turn right just before it. Walk along the side path and the cafe's on the first bend you come to. The building was originally the schoolhouse, and it's well over 100 years old. As you may know, we run skills workshops here, where you can learn traditional crafts like woodwork and basket making. You can see examples of the work and talk to someone about the courses in the Black Barn. If you take the side path to the right, here, just by the new barn, you'll come to the Black Barn, just where the path first bends. Now, I mustn't forget to tell you about picnicking, as I can see some of you have brought your lunch with you. You can picnic in the field, though do clear up behind you, of course. Or if you'd prefer a covered picnic area, there's one near the farmyard, just after you cross the bridge. There's a covered picnic spot on the right. And the last thing to mention is Fiddy House itself. From here you can cross the bridge, then walk along the footpath through the field to the left of the farmyard. That goes to the house, and it'll give you a lovely view of it. It's certainly worth a few photographs, but as it's a private home, I'm afraid you can't go inside. Right, well, if you're all ready, we'll set off on our tour of the farm.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 29.
You will hear a presentation about the layout of a town center.
Hello. My name is Marcus Lintmaker, and I am going to give a brief overview of the layout of our town center. I see all of you have a copy of the map with you. As you can see, the town center is spread on either side of Pound Lane, which goes from north to south, here in the center of the map. First Avenue, which you can see at the southern side of the map, heads off east towards the financial district. Let me first tell you about the water feature in the town center. It is located inside a plaza, which is very popular among the residents of the town. It gets really crowded during lunchtime and the evenings as people come here to hang out. There are 3 stalls in the plaza near the water feature. The one in the middle is a pizzeria, and its pizzas are famous all over town. On First Avenue, there is the town's oldest gas station. Recently, they have installed an electric vehicle charging station, as many residents in the town now drive Teslas. When you take a right from Pound Lane towards First Avenue, first you will see a sports shop. Just past the sports shop is the charging station for electric vehicles before you get to the gas station. Our town hall is in the northeastern section of the map. It is just behind the central library. The town council and several other public offices are located inside the town hall. Adjacent to it is a car park, and it is the only one in the town center. To reach it, you have to take the side road that goes towards east from Pound Lane in front of the supermarket. Go straight ahead and the road ends at the parking garage. Last but not the least, there is a lovely little diner in the town center which has been serving town folks for over 150 years called Dick's Diner. When you move north along the Pound Lane, the diner is a little beyond the supermarket. The place gets really busy on Sundays for its special brunch menu. Well, now that you have a general idea of our town center, you can go ahead and explore it on your own. Remember, if you get lost, do not hesitate to ask any of the locals for directions. They are happy to help any visitor. Or you can call me, and I will come to pick you up.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now, you have some time to look at questions 30 to 34.
Now, please look at the map I've given you of the Healthy Hearing Medical Clinic and Surgery. For those not familiar with our practice, reception can be found through the main door at the end of the corridor. If your consultation is booked with Mr. Green, you need to go through the main door and turn right by the nurse's desk, and his office is at the end of the corridor on your left-hand side. If you need to alter any of your personal details, please visit our secretary at the Office for Medical Records, which you will find next to the therapy room. If you're awaiting surgery, please first check in with reception before taking the first door on the right after you enter the clinic. Finally, in the event that you feel disappointed with any of the services we have provided, or have any further questions, please locate our manager's office, which can be found near the Office for Medical Records and between two closets. If you have any more questions about the Healthy Hearing Medical Clinic and Surgery, please do not hesitate to contact us on 01 256 111 111.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now, you have some time to look at questions 35 to 40.
Okay, let me tell you about some of the changes that have been made and some things that have been retained. If you look at this map, you'll see the familiar outline of the park, with the river forming the northern boundary, and a gate in each of the other three walls. The statue of Diane Gosforth has been moved. It used to be close to the south gate, but it's now immediately to the north of the lily pond, almost in the centre of the park, which makes it much more visible. There's a new area of wooden sculptures, which are on the riverbank, where the path from the east gate makes a sharp bend. There are two areas that are particularly intended for children. The playground has been enlarged and improved, and that's between the river and the path that leads from the pond to the river. Then there's a new maze, a circular series of paths separated by low hedges. That's near the West Gate. You go north from there towards the river and then turn left to reach it. There have been tennis courts in the park for many years, and they've been doubled, from 4 to 8. They're still in the southwest corner of the park, where there's a right-angle bend in the path. Something else I'd like to mention is the new fitness area. This is right next to the lily pond on the same side as the West Gate. Now, as you're all gardeners, I'm sure you'll like to hear about the plants that have been chosen for the park.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.